Luang was just talking a little bit about the benefits of ordination, becoming a Buddhist monk. He says it's not an easy thing to do, so like his monastery is like our monastery, have a kind of a graded system of training. You come into the monastery first and you wear white, you shave your head, wear white, keep the 8 precepts, and you learn about the monastic life, how to meditate, how to follow the rules of training in the monastery, follow the different practices, live in the forest, develop some personal discipline. You learn all that first as an anagarika, and then you might be ready to ordain as a novice or as a monk. He says if people don't train, you can put someone into the robes, just wear the robe, shave the head, but if they haven't received any training yet, then they may actually do as much damage as they do good, because somebody who's presenting themselves as a monk, wearing the robes, shaven head, but haven't trained, they don't know how to keep the rules, they don't know how to meditate, they might actually be a bad example and teach people all the wrong things and just not understand what they're doing. So he said the training for monks, monastics, is a very important thing, and so it takes a while before you actually become a monk in the forest monasteries like this or in Luang Por's monastery. He says some people have the thought, you go to a monastery, even as a layperson, you might think, I go to a monastery and I make good karma, I make merit, something good happens, but it's not assured yet, is it? You go into a monastery, you also have to practice. Your monastery is a place of practice. Just by physically being there is not a guarantee of making good karma or making any merit yet. Once you're there, you have to learn how to keep precepts, how to help, volunteer, help with the activities. You have to learn how to meditate, develop mindfulness, train yourself. All of that takes effort, time, and that's how the goodness or the good karma arises. Simply by shaving your head, wearing robes, or as a layperson just walking into the monastery, nothing has happened yet, has it? You're still just the same person from before. You actually have to start practicing for anything good to arise. So it's just emphasizing how a monastery is a place of practice, but the practice comes from you, from each individual doing your practice. Luang Por says the important thing to remember is that the seat or the cause of happiness and suffering is in your own mind, your own heart. Human beings spend most of their time seeking to look after their body, earn money, buy nice food, nice clothes, build nice houses, get all kinds of material things to make us comfortable, look good, feel good in the body. But it's a kind of losing battle, because every day your physical body is getting older. And once you're born, you age every day. And the very best you can hope for is to just slow the whole process down a bit. So we try and keep healthy, eat healthy food, exercise, look after our health. But it's only slowing the process down. You can't stop yourself getting older, and you won't stop yourself eventually dying. All the while we're doing that, kind of fighting this losing battle, and we tend to neglect the mind. And the mind is something, it's easy to neglect the mind because you can't see it, it's invisible. But actually our happiness and suffering is really determined more by the mind. The body gives us sometimes some pain and suffering, true, but the real suffering in life is mental. It's from not knowing how to look after your mind, not knowing how to stop negative thoughts coming in, taking over your mind. All the feelings of stress, sadness, anguish, despair, disappointment, all the different kinds of things we call suffering, they all arise in your mind, and they come from lack of awareness, lack of understanding how to look after your mind. If it gets really bad, you become what we call mentally ill. Maybe you need to see a doctor, take medication, get help. If it gets really bad, you end up in a mental hospital. If it gets to the worst point, what do human beings do? They tend to take their stress and suffering out on themselves, so they become, maybe physically harm themselves or even try and take their own life, which only makes things worse. It's not going to help you to do that. The way out of suffering is, as the Buddha saw, is to train your mind, cultivate good qualities of mind, cultivate good qualities of heart, the mindfulness, the understanding, the kindness and compassion, all the good qualities you develop will gradually bring your mind up, and you can experience peace and happiness if you train your mind, look after it in this life. In the end, it's even more, you could say, versatile than the body, because the body, we know, only gets older every day, gets sick, and eventually it must die. But our minds don't have to be sick or unhappy. We can actually find happiness, but we have to create the right causes. We have to practice. Luang Por says even when you understand the important thing is to look after your mind and cultivate your mind or practice with your mind in the right way, people still have a wrong understanding. They tend to think happiness is something you've got to rush after or go and find or go and get from somewhere else and bring it to yourself. It's not like that, actually. Happiness arises when you remove suffering. So the Buddhist method, the Buddhist way of practice is to get to know your mind and see where the causes of suffering are and remove them, and then happiness will naturally arise. This is very similar to, say, you have clothes, you wear your clothes and they get dirty. To find cleanliness or clean clothes, you don't have to go somewhere and do or get anything. You have to clean the dirt off your clothes and then they become clean. So you have to get that understanding that, to find inner peace, happiness, you have to remove what is not happiness, what is not peaceful from your mind, remove the suffering. So that's why we have to practice developing awareness, mindfulness, wise reflection, understanding. Because the real cause of our unhappiness is not that we don't understand. We don't understand the way things are. We're not aware. We don't see clearly. So we're constantly attached to negative states of mind, worry, stress, all kinds of desires, all kinds of frustrations. We attach to them as self, this is me, this is myself, and then we feel suffering. We have to get to see that process, understand what's going on by cultivating more mindfulness and more insight. And that's like, learning how to turn a light on or making a light in your dark room. When you turn a light on, darkness naturally disappears. When you develop mindfulness, knowledge, vision, clarity, naturally the opposite, ignorance, wrong understanding, will disappear. So we have to constantly cultivate mindfulness, clarity, wisdom and insight, and little by little suffering will be removed from your mind. The reason we're kind of caught into delusion, misunderstanding of the truth, so we haven't trained our mind in mindfulness and we haven't developed clarity and stillness of mind, what we call samadhi. So the untrained mind is always moving around, following its thoughts, reacting to things, following moods, attaching to different streams of thought. And so as long as we're doing that, we don't have the clarity, we don't understand where our suffering comes from, we don't understand what we must do to remove suffering. So we have to train, we have to develop mindfulness, cultivate that through meditation. And as mindfulness improves, the mind becomes more steady, stable. From that you get clarity because you start to see things from the place where the mind is firm, stable, able to observe without running all over the place. When we don't have any mindfulness and samadhi, whatever thought arises, you just follow it. You just get caught up in that train of thought, as we all know. When you meditate, that's usually your first experience when you meditate. But if you train, you practice, you don't have to be like, it doesn't have to be like that. You can train your mind to become calm, concentrated, and then a thought arises, you see it, you know it, but it doesn't distract you or take your attention away from the present moment. You notice when the mind is not very mindful, there's not much clarity, we're always dropping into thoughts about the past, what's just happened, either yesterday or last year or whatever, or thoughts about the future, what we think will happen, good or bad, what we want to happen, good or bad. We're never in the present moment because we're not very mindful, we don't pay attention to the present moment. But if you train in that, then you can keep your mind in the present moment, then you can really see the true nature of things. So we have to do that a lot, practice that a lot. Just training the mind, you have to learn how to bring it more under your control, and you have to have sort of an anchor or something that you can tie your mind down with, bring it under your control. And this is what you're learning in meditation, cultivating mindfulness, putting effort into that. He says it's a bit like having a boat. If you have a boat on a river, if you don't have a rope that you can tie the boat up with, or you don't have a rudder to steer it, your boat will tend to just float down the river, and there's always a lot of risk because it's just floating. You know, if the current is really fast, it might bump into something, it might go to the left, hit the left bank, might go to the right, hit the right bank. It's just at the beck and call of the flow of the water if you have no way of controlling your boat. But if you get a rope, so you tie it up, or you have a rudder, you can control your boat. Even if there's a very fast flowing river, you can still control it, make it go where you want, and then that's what you're aiming for. And your mind's the same. If you don't train it with mindfulness, then it just flows all over the place. Whatever thought arises, you just follow it. A good thought, bad thought, happy thought, sad thought, doesn't matter, your mind just follows, and you never experience much peace because you don't have like a firm, stable foundation for your mind. So the practice of meditation is to gain that foundation. As your mind becomes firmer, more stability arises, well, then you're not so prey to your emotions and different thoughts. They don't pull you around all over the place. So our challenge is to deal with this untrained mind that likes to just float around, following its every thought, every mood, every memory that comes up. When we're not very mindful, it just follows along, floating around. There's no foundation, there's no real understanding there. And most of the time we're just getting caught up in thinking about what we're thinking about, you know, the details of our thoughts, our moods, our memories. We get lost in that. We don't get any real understanding. So you need a way to train your mind to bring it back to the present moment and make it firm in that. So we have meditation objects such as mindfulness of breathing, or the recitation of Buddha or Buddhanusati. So if you train yourself to be mindful of the recitation of Buddha, or you use the word Buddha, or you recite it, you can train your mind not to chase after or follow after all the moods. Normally we're either going towards something we like, something we're attracted to, whether it's just imagination, fantasy, or an actual something, an experience you're having. If it's something you like, you know, I like this, I want more of this, and you think all about it. Or we're going to the way of aversion, you know, I don't like this, don't want this, and you're thinking in that way. And we tend to just move between these two experiences, which is reacting to things all the time, like this, don't like that, don't like this, like that. And so your mind is very tired and doesn't have much understanding from that. But if you can establish Buddha, you recite Buddha, you start to bring your mind under your control more. It doesn't have to rush after these desirable or undesirable states of mind. It can know them, but then lets go. And that's the important thing. When you're mindful, you can know something, but then let it go. And the reason you can let go partly is because you can just see it's impermanent anyway. Whatever arises, whatever mood, emotion, feeling that you're experiencing, it arises, it passes away. That's its nature. If you watch closely, you'll see that. But to watch closely, you need to pay attention, you need to be mindful. So this practice, what we call letting go of attachment, actually is quite a natural thing that happens as you become more mindful. You see everything is impermanent, everything arises, ceases, everything arises, passes away. When you see impermanence, your mind quite naturally is able to let things go because you know they're not permanent. And what is not permanent is not really you. It's not a self, a person, a being. It's just one mental state or one thought that arises and ceases. So if you keep practicing this, your mindfulness improves. It's like you have a firm foundation in your mind. Then you feel much better because your mind is not kind of tossed around, thrown all over the place by your different emotions. You can know things but then let go. So if you keep practicing with your meditation objects, such as Buddha, and you get better at putting your attention on the meditation object over and over again, Buddha, 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 and letting go of the distractions, what you find is that not only does your mind start to settle down, become more calm, peaceful, even physically you start to feel better. So you experience more of a sense of well-being, more happiness. And you can see quite clearly this happiness is not dependent on external things. It's not a happiness that comes from chasing after wealth, possessions, fame, fortune, all the normal things that human beings associate with happiness. You realise these are not real happiness. They only give you a very kind of temporary good feeling. A much more satisfying, more profound kind of happiness is from you inside, when the mind lets go, when it starts putting down attachment, using Buddha or any other meditation object to achieve mindfulness, the mind will let go and it will naturally feel a great sense of relief, peace, and you know that. You're not just trying to convince yourself about this. It's a genuine feeling. And then you're no longer bored or frustrated with the training of your mind and the practice of meditation, say. You can do it more and more quite naturally because you enjoy it. You find it brings you inner happiness, peace, energy. You gain what we call chanta. Chanta means like the wholesome desire to practice, to meditate, say. And so you're willing to put up, sometimes you may be physically a bit tired, but you don't mind. You don't think of your meditation as a burden or something you have to do that you don't really want to do it anymore. You want to do it quite naturally. You're happy to do it. You keep practicing, you're happy to do it, and you get energy from that. So it's not something you have to force yourself to do. And so people who get really into their meditation, sometimes they'll meditate all day or all night. And they're not worried about, did I get enough sleep or will I feel tired? Because they're enjoying it. They're enjoying focusing on the mind, letting go of various cravings, attachments, desires, and they get a lot of peace, a lot of energy from it. And that's why you hear stories about, say, monks who can walk meditation all night long or sit meditation all day or all night, because they gain this sense of enjoyment and happiness to do the meditation. It's no longer such a chore, something that's difficult, because they get so into it. Normally we can do that with more what we call sensual kinds of happiness, can't we? If you're really into gaming, you can sit there playing your games all night. You don't think of moving even if you're really into it. You don't think about eating or sleeping, you're just doing your thing. It could be the same, watching a movie or listening to music or any kind of entertainment, any kind of sensual experience. Quite often you get into it and you don't think of doing anything else because you're absorbed and happy doing it. Except at the end, you don't get anything from that. All you get is a pleasant feeling for a while, and then it's gone. You don't get any mindfulness or insight or understanding. Meditation is the same in the sense you can get into it and you don't really need to rest or eat so much. You're only enjoying your meditation, but the whole point is you're also gaining some insight, and that stays with you. So it's got to be better than the sensual kind of happiness. If you keep practicing this, training your mind in mindfulness, training your heart, then you get to see clearly the difference between these two kinds of happiness. The material happiness or sensual happiness based on sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, all the material things you can have in this world, and the inner happiness of the Dhamma, of the well-trained mind. Just as the Buddha said, Nati Santi Paramang Sukhang, there's no happiness as high or as profound as the happiness of a peaceful mind. What you also see is, the happiness of the material world, the sensual world, is a delusion, in the sense where you may get some temporary feelings of pleasure and happiness from eating nice food, seeing pleasant sights, hearing pleasant sounds and so on. But it doesn't last. And you're constantly chasing more of it because it doesn't last. Nothing lasts. Or your whole life you end up chasing different kinds of pleasure, and then when you die, you can't take anything with you anyway. You don't take, you can't take your body with you because that dies. You can't take your material possessions, your house, all the different pleasurable experiences you have in this life, you can't take with you when you die. And in the accumulation of them, it's also a burden. You have to go out, work, earn money to buy things, pay the bills, have your pleasant experiences. Then you have to go and work again, and more money, and keep doing it over and over again. It's quite burdensome, so it's mixed up with a lot of suffering as well. Whereas the happiness of the Dhamma is inner, it's free, it's not dependent on external things, it stays with you. And it actually stays with you when you die. It's a much more profound kind of happiness than the happiness of the world. And the happiness of the mind that is well trained in the Dhamma, in mindfulness, in insight, is free. It's not attached to anything. So it's like your real possession. Whereas all these external possessions, people, possessions that we think belong to us, they don't. But now you can see that, you realise, the peaceful mind is more valuable, more meaningful than anything else. It gives your life some real meaning. All these other things that you can't really hold on to anyway and disappear when you die, kind of give this sense of hopelessness. I can't cling to anything in the world. But the Dhamma and the fruits of your Dhamma practice, you keep. So you've got to say it's better or more meaningful. So in the Buddhist path, true wisdom or understanding comes out of a peaceful mind, a mind of samadhi, which has a foundation. So your mind is calm, clear, still. Then you can really see the way things are, know the way things are. And this kind of wisdom and the ability to find this wisdom by learning to reflect on things from this place of stillness stays with you. So your life is definitely going to improve. Things will improve. You're going to become, you might say, a better person, a happier person, because you now have an ability to solve all your problems, understand things, learn things, know things, because your mind is ready for that. The practice of meditation brings your mind to the sense of calm, where you abandon the hindrances, the obstacles, the distractions. Then your mind is in the best state to know things, to learn things. And what's more important than learning how to abandon suffering and develop true happiness? So your life is going to become more meaningful, more happy, more satisfactory to you. And you keep practicing. You don't have to worry how long it will take until you reach enlightenment, nibbana, say. The important thing is to keep practicing, keep developing the right causes. And nothing is lost when you practice Dhamma. It's not the same as in the world. In the world, you go to work, you earn money, the money you earn, you spend, the things you buy, you use up, and then they're gone. The Dhamma stays with you. So it's got to be better. The Dhamma stays with you, but it may change form. So like, you compared it to a tree. When you plant a tree, then you add water and fertilizer to the tree. The water and the fertilizer don't stay the same because they go into the tree and nourish the roots and the systems of the tree and become leaves and branches over time. But it's still there. It's just changed or transformed its nature from water and fertilizer into the different parts of the tree. Dhamma practice is like that. Dana, generosity, charity that you practice, sila, precepts you keep, meditation, mindfulness, insight you develop. All of this goes together to transform your mind into something better, something more peaceful, more happy. So never feel like you're somehow practicing and wasting time or you're going to lose your practice. It's not like that. It all feeds in to nourishing your mind, making your mind into something better. So never get caught into that way of thinking, practicing the Dhamma is a waste of time. You don't get anything from it. It doesn't really help you. If you look at the process of cause and result, you might say karma, but just the way everything is a cause, every cause brings a result. Whatever effort you put into your practice is always going to bring you some benefit, some reward, something good. You may feel, I haven't reached Nibbana yet, it's too far away, but it doesn't matter. You're practicing in the present moment and you already start to see the benefits, or should see the benefits in the present. You practice mindfulness, you practice letting go of various negative states of mind and so on. You'll start to feel better in the present moment. It's not the benefits and the happiness of practicing the Dhamma is not all about some distant state that you're going to experience in the future. You start to experience it in the present as well. You feel better, your mind is clearer, you suffer less, you have more knowledge, more peace, more understanding in the present moment. And this will nourish you, keep you going. So never give up and never feel like it's a waste of time, because that's just another delusion when you think that. So today I'd just like to leave you with these teachings, these reflections for you to think about, and hope that there'll be some kind of benefit to you and a cause for your progress in the Dhamma. May you find true happiness, true peace in your lives. Keep practicing.